Pearson. Steph, of course, had a superb weekend in Hildesheim, made a semi-final, losing out to Aileen de Graaf in event 16. And as for Louise Pearson, well, she's beaten Laura Turner already this morning. A superb victory for her to start this event off. So then this one doesn't really mean anything in the context of the World Championship qualification that we're focusing on a lot today, but in the race for next year's match play, it is certainly a significant one, because Steph Rennoch, after that superb weekend in Hildesheim, she is currently 9th in the order of merit in the race for the 2023 Women's World Match Play. How impressed were you, Chris Murphy, with Steph in Hildesheim? Very impressed, and I would probably assume that that's the reason why she's here, because she hadn't played in a women's series event before then. Played in Germany because it was in Germany, and did so well that she put herself in the picture and thought, well, actually it makes sense to carry on trying. Yeah, and some really good results there as well. Beat Mikuru Suzuki. She actually beat Louise Pearson as well over in Hildesheim. That was in event 14 in the last 32, that meeting. She beat her by 4 legs to 1 in that one. So will we see a similar outcome this morning? Yeah, it's disappointing not to have seen another player who played really well over there, Iselin Howen, young Norwegian talent, because she was in the mix provisionally for those. Obviously there's going to be many more tournaments before then. We'll be at the halfway stage after this, and Rennoch is pretty much on the cusp, isn't she? Just behind Priscilla Steenbergen right now in the provisional 8th spot, but don't forget Fallon Sherrick isn't in those qualification places yet. I'm sure she will be probably by the end of today. You've got the likes of Dita Hedman, Rhian Griffiths, who we've just seen win, Anastasia Dobromoslova, all trying to get there as well. Actually playing for the likes of Sakaguchi, Steenberg and Rennoch herself, actually playing in those 4 events in Hildesheim might prove to be the difference between probably one of them making it. 38. Yeah, most definitely, and as we said, would probably be the case. Fallon Sherrick already leaping up that table, isn't she, in order to get herself within those top 8 places. She's currently 16th, but she's got a different order of merit to focus on for today's action, that's for certain. She has, and we've spoken about Lisa Ashton being already qualified for the Worlds and the Grand Slam. Well, you look at the Bo Greaves Hall, I'm pretty sure she's there. She must have qualified already for the match play, because you're not going to get a situation where 7 players get more than £6,000 and she doesn't get anything. So she doesn't have to worry about that one, but she wants to focus on the immediate one. You mentioned the word worry there. I don't think that's a word in Bo Greaves' vocabulary, is it? Only when I turn up with a microphone in my hand. 41. A double 10 for Pearson. Focusing on the present here, double 5. Well, you could just see she kind of lurched forward, but that is an incredible adjustment. Clipped off above the number 5 and then pinned it perfectly in the double. Yeah, she adjusted better than you, because you ducked for cover after that first attempt. Just like Chris Dobie did at the European Championship in Dortmund. If you didn't see that, check out social media. He did himself an injury, old Hollywood. Yeah, there was a worry for a second with Chris Dobie that he was just going to get his head on there and try and flick it back to the board that way. 45. Pearson in front. Despite a bad dart, it was followed by a good one, and it's 1-0. In terms of the tournament, we do have a handful of players already through to the 3rd round. Of course, Rhian Griffiths, we saw, achieve that. Lorraine Hyde is through after a 4-0 win against Samantha Lewis. You mentioned Rachel Brooks earlier. Anastasia Dobromoslova is also there, 4-0 win against Helen Ward. Jo Locke as well. She's a very good, consistent talent that the Women's Series has been since day dot, and she's through with a 4-3 win against the equally capable Jane Monahan. Yeah, and of course we didn't know what we'd see from Anastasia this week, did we? But she's really put in some solid and impressive performances so far this weekend. A convincing victory for her there in the last 64. Fallon Sherrick is underway in her last 64 match as well. She's taken a 1-0 lead in that one.
105.
We'll Rennoch down to a finish, but Pearson's in a good position here. Oh, great dart. Great time to find a treble 20 there.
100.
Might have been an option to go for the bull with the last dart. Some advanced thinking that. I would have gone for it and missed it.
45.
But you would have done the thinking part, Murph.
Yeah, always the best intentions.
Yeah.
Well, it's a couple. That's very rare. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
31.
2 darts in treble 2. We were just talking about things off air, weren't we? That in a game where the variables don't change, you see new things incredibly frequently.
35.
Yeah, given that you think it's just the one dartboard, you're surely not going to see too many variations, but this game always finds a way to surprise us.
20.
Well, that could have been one of them. 60 taken out, treble 5, single 5 tops. This seems a little more conventional, but it's not going to happen. So Pearson will get the chance to double a lead.
67.
Yeah, just looking at Louise Pearson's results, it'd be a really big run for her if she could put a second victory together, and she does double her lead in this match, pinning tops with the 3rd dart in hand. She has reached a quarter-final at the Women's Series, but that was back in 2021 in Milton Keynes.
41.
She's got a few last 32s to her name, but that victory over Laura Turner in the first round could really be a catalyst for her in this event.
Yeah, great to see how well the women's tour has been supported by the players.
58.
Again, around 100 here over the course of the weekend. In fact, one match getting underway between Chrissy Manley and Katie Sheldon. There's a 45-year age gap between the pair.
21.
One of the brilliant things about this sport, isn't it? Even in the PDC at the moment, you've got a world champion who, if he wasn't a tour card holder, could be playing on the seniors tour. And you've got players that are still on the development tour that are capable of being world champion. You've got a top player on the women's tour who's qualified for the Grand Slam
17.
and World Championship that does play on the seniors tour. And if Bo Greaves were to make it to the World Championship, then you've got another one who did qualify for the development tour. It's quite remarkable, the range of ages and demographics that are able to play this game and to an equally good standard.
Yeah, no barriers at all in this game. And on Chrissy Manley, you just mentioned her there. She's certainly better prepared for today's action than she was yesterday, because she said the night before last there was a party in the hotel room next to hers.
60.
So she was woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning. She didn't actually attend the party. That wasn't the reason. She was trying to shut them up.
I did invite her.
If you're having a party and Peter Manley suddenly knocks on your door telling you to be quiet, you're probably wrapping it up quite quickly, aren't you?
Unless you can play Amarillo quickly enough for him to just waltz through.
Or if it's a party of flamingos.
100.
Peter Manley here representing the PDPA, and I'm sure keeping an eye on
88.
the results of his good lady. Louise Pearson here, though, looking to move 3 up and looking for revenge on Rennoch for that defeat over in
60.
Germany. I just feel like the home leg for Louise Pearson here.
Yeah, again, a significant advantage
44.
in this leg. Double 10 required then to move within 1. And she pins it with the second dart. 3-0 lead for Louise Pearson in this one.
We will have Rhiannon O'Sullivan in action next. She's just beaten Grace Ferridge to get through. And she will take on Lisa Ashton or Karen Webber. So very likely that we'll have O'Sullivan Ashton in action in the third round on this streaming ball, which could be a fantastic game.
Yeah, I can see Lisa Ashton just to the left of me, going through her warm-up darts ahead of that match with Karen Webber.
Yeah, that game just getting underway. So there might be a little bit of a break before the end of this one and the start of that one, assuming Pearson gets it done quickly. But if Ashton also gets it done quickly, the break might not be that big. So maybe tea and toast, but nothing that takes any longer.
60.
Someone else who's getting the job done very quickly, and she's just completed a 4-0 victory, Fallon Sherrock, to move into the last 32.
57.
Her fluster too much. I did actually ask Lorraine Winstanley about her this morning, because they are of course good pals. They sit on the same table as each other. Just asked what sort of mood Fallon was in this morning. She said it's one of the most relaxed feelings that Fallon's really felt since she's been here at the Women's Series. She seemed really relaxed, really focused, really up for it.
94.
Yeah, in my experience, I mean, I was kind of Fallon's press officer when she did what she did at the World Championship, was pretty close to the camp at that time.
55.
And it was all the bit before and the bit after that Fallon sort of was nervous with and was affected by and worried about. But the reason that she played so well is because when she got on the stage, that was where she felt at home. And I just wonder if it's a little bit of, it's almost a relief to be playing darts rather than talking about it.
Most definitely, and I think she's got such a good base here, hasn't she? Corinne Hammond, Lorraine Winstanley, people who she really regards as friends. Tops then.
Game shot,
and she does it another unconventional way to get the job done, but she completes the 4-0 victory in that one. Louise Pearson through to the last 32.